to finish this worm up, let's bind the skin, get our layers all set, and we'll be done. I'm going to undo to move our knee back into position here, and oh, come on. Get that thing straightened out. I want my joints to be where they should be during the bind, and I'm going to select the joints, select the skin. Oh, got to make it so it's not reference only. Select the skin and hit skin, bind skin, smooth bind. That will attach it, so now when I move this handle, for instance, I can bend it and the back of the worm skin will bend. All of the same stuff should still work here. I can rotate that, have all that stuff stick where it needs to be, and with that handle there, one interesting thing about that one is when I move him, he will move, but his tail will stay with the IK handle because that's how it's built. That might help you with some animations in the future. One more NURBS circle. Create NURBS primitive circle options box. This one I'm going to create on the y-axis, and this guy is going to be the parent of everything. To make him the parent of everything, I'm going to shrink him down a little bit. And just kind of make it look like he belongs around the whole worm there. Shrink him down on the sides, get him to fit in there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to parent everything to that NURBS circle. So to do that, I need to select my separate structures here where I have this guy and that guy and this guy and that, and click on this and hit P to parent all that, except for I did that again. You gotta modify freeze transformations before you parent, or constrain. It's really important. And when you forget, like I often do, it makes a mess of things. Let's try that again. Parent it. All right. Now, if I take this whole worm, I can move it as one solid piece with all of its joints. Remember, I can't do that with this one because the IK handle isn't bound there. So let's see. Oh, I wanted to do something here. Oh, that is locked. Let's see here. You know what? I'm going to just parent that to that. There we go. Now that'll all stay in position better. Let's move this. Okay, I'm pretty happy with everything. Everything's frozen in place. I'm going to create one more layer. Layer, create empty layer. And we're going to call this layer handles. Creating those handles, I'm going to add these handles to that thing. So if you remember, we're going to have the skin visible, but reference only much of the time. We're going to have the skeleton invisible, and if it were visible, we want it to not be selectable, so I'm going to put a T in that guy. And then the handles, I want to select all of the handles. And add those objects there. But sometimes I don't want to see the handles anymore. Oops, forgot a handle. Right click, add selected objects to that layer. So when I'm done with my animation, I want to remove that. Now I don't want to do that for this NURBS circle. We're going to leave that there all the time. When you render it, he won't be visible anyway, so he won't get in the way much. But all the other handles can kind of look kind of messy when we're all done. Now it's time to animate our guy. To do that, we need our handles, so let's get started animating our character. So to animate this character, how he gets along is he's going to scoot his tail forward, and then he's going to lock his tail into the ground and push his body forward. Those are the two motions that we're going to have when he moves forward. Also, when he's about to move forward, he'll be scrunched up like this, and when he lunges forward, he's going to push his head forward there to try to get some momentum in that forward motion. So to make those two things happen, I am going to, let's just leave it where it's at. 24 frames is fine. Let's go ahead and lock some things into position. Let's take this handle and this handle, for instance, those that we're going to animate, and we're going to hit S on the keyboard to animate those two handles. Those two handles are going to be in that same position on 24, so I'm going to hit S there. And we're going to select this handle right here, and we're going to make it in that position on 24, or position 1, and position 12. So I'm going to do 1 and 12 are here, but on 24, the whole worm is going to move forward a little bit. So let's back up a little bit. Let's set that guy back to 0. And S in that position, S in position 12, and we're going to move it somewhere else on 24, so we won't move it there right now. All right. Now the tail is going to be out for the base and forward on the next half. So on frame 12, I'm going to grab the tail and move it forward. How many units? Let's say 3. We can have him scrunch up pretty far. So this is going to be a -3 units that he moves forward right there. Then I'm going to hit S on the keyboard, select it, hit S on the keyboard, and set that keyframe. Now it starts at 1, moves to 12, and notice it goes back to the initial position there on keyframe. So if I hit play right now, the tail is just going to move in and out. So to set the body, we already set it to have the head forward like it is right now, but we didn't set a keyframe on 12. So we're going to put 12 up in the air like this and hit SR on the keyboard, sure, somewhere around 94 degrees, scooted back really nice way. And now if you hit play, you can see he kind of lunges forward. I'm going to make some changes here. I don't like him lunging forward all the way. I want him to keep his head in the air a little bit more dignified. So I'm going to go set this to, sure, 18, right click, key selected on frame 1. Changing this on frame 24 to be that same thing. They have to match. Right click, key selected. Now he's at 18 on 1 and 24, and then his head comes back to 94-ish when he's like that. Let's take a look at that animation. Scoot, scoot, scoot. Now he looks like he's moving forward a little bit. Let's try to figure this out. So from 1 to 12, he's scrunching up and getting ready to lunge forward, but he doesn't start lunging until he gets to keyframe 12. So at keyframe 12, I've already set this keyframe for this whole worm here. I need to figure out how far to move him forward. If you froze your transformations properly, this unit right here, -3, should be the same unit you're going to use here at keyframe 24. Translate Z, -3, right click, key selected, and now what he'll do, he'll scoot forward, but from 12 to 24, his whole body will move forward to allow him to get ready to lunge forward again. Now this is a cycle, but notice he's moving forward just a little bit. So when I just play it over and over again, he magically moves back to his original position on keyframe 1. To give him that forward motion, I need to cycle this animation, and to do that I need to use the graph editor. So the graph editor, we click on Window, Animation Editor, Graph Editor, and we'll make this window a little smaller. In fact, let's just keep the graph editor right here so we can use it. So I'm going to select this circle that controls the whole worm, click on Curves, Post Infinity, and we're going to cycle this with offset. Curves, Post Infinity, cycle with offset. And then I'm going to take this handle, which I've animated, and this, which I've animated, and I'm going to hit Curves, Post Infinity, Cycle. Now cycle with offset will keep our worm moving forward, but we don't want our, with respect to the worm as a whole, these animations will repeat within themselves and not need offsetting cycles. So we're going to do Post Infinity Cycle to these animations. With that done, I can move back to this window and set my keyframes higher. For instance, let's say 200 keyframes, about 9.5 seconds worth of animation. All right, now if I look at this thing, I'm going to take off his handles so I don't have to see them. And I look at him, and he scoots his way along the ground. That's the first part of animating this worm. Next, we're going to create some eyes for him and allow him to look around a little bit.